Hi, it's John and Mike from BREW-ON. Last year we did a lot of tasting videos of our own homebrew, and it was good for us. I don't know how great it was for you because you were home or at work or wherever watching these videos of us drinking our homebrews and such, but it didn't really help you out in terms of your own homebrewing experience. So we've decided to choose a few styles that we've brewed a number of times. We feel like we have enough experience and just knowledge about brewing great versions of this style, so we can pass along tips to you so that you can brew very good examples of these beer styles at home. The first one we're going to talk about is the Northern English Brown Ale. This is something that Mike has brewed 30,000 times, at least, maybe 29,999 times, but who's counting? So he has 3 points to make about brewing a great version of the style, and I'm going to ask him what is point number 1 of how to brew this, a great version of this style.
Point number 1 for me with brown ale, everybody expects brown ale to be nut brown. There's Southern English brown, but this is Northern English brown. Most people out of brown ale want a good, crackery, nut type driven flavor.
Okay.
You get that through special roast. In my experience, special roast. Nothing delivers quite that flavor. I've experimented with different levels of other malts, Victory, Biscuit, this thing, that thing, different base malts. Special roast drives that home. And for a 5 to 5.5 gallon batch, for me in my hands, it's usually about 2/3 of a pound. So obviously you want to dial that up and down a little bit depending on your batch size.
Okay, so special roast is point number 1. Point number 2 is?
Point number 2 is experimenting with different malts. I discovered that, the number one thing that drives the brown color is chocolate malt.
Chocolate malt.
And when I first started brewing when I started brewing brown ale a long time ago, the only chocolate malt I could really get my hands on was 350 Love.
Okay.
But now you can get chocolate malt that's 200, 300, 350.
It varies by malts,
You can get 600 Love. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, but what I have found is that regardless of country of origin that I'm trying to replicate, American 350 Lovabond chocolate malt. It delivers the right amount of chocolate flavor. It gives you good control over the color. Darker chocolate malt, the color tends to get away from you. It looks more porterish.
Yeah.
And the subtleties of the chocolate roast just don't exist in the darker chocolates.
Okay.
350 Lovabond chocolate.
Okay, so that's point number 2. And what is the last point when it comes to brewing a great version of the style?
I think it's a brown ale. For me, it's a malt-forward beer. So with water chemistry, you want to start thinking about what drives malt flavors, and that's typically leaning more on the chloride side of your chloride to sulfate ratios. But being an English beer, don't be afraid to get in there with some gypsum, with calcium sulfate to harden the water a little bit. Don't worry about the concept of Burtonizing your water. You just come in with some gypsum and try to lean more, even 1-to-1 ratio with your chloride. Drive that malt flavor, and that's the secret to water chemistry in brown ale.
Okay, so those are 3 points. This is coming from a guy, again, he's brewed this a number of times, experimented with different malts, and did some water chemistry too. So take these tips into consideration next time you're going to brew a Northern English brown ale. We'd love to hear your feedback if you think something different, or you think that you've brewed something like this, or you followed our tips to a T and it still came out horrible. Let us know. We're really hoping that you'll take these tips and actually be very happy with the results. So, as we say here at BREW-ON, brew on.
Brew on.